the doorway to nightmare. Come in. Welcome. I'm your host, Artemis Black. In the past few years, there has been a resurgence in the investigation of the paranormal. Ghost hunting, as it is called, has become more popular, which begs me to ask, what happens after we shuffle off this mortal coil?
Great dinner, Dot.
Thank you, sweet. Just a little something I whipped up.
Where has Fred been all day?
Oh, I'm not really sure. He's been unusually quiet for the last few days.
The problem with Fred is that he doesn't have anything to do.
Too bad he couldn't get a job with you at the office.
Please, don't even think of that.
Tigger? What are you doing here?
Good evening, Mrs. Peters. Would you mind if I spoke with Fred?
Sure. Come on in.
Thank you.
You know, you could have just whooshed in.
I tried to be polite.
Oh, well, thank you. Fred? Fred? You around? Digger's here to see you.
I swear I had nothing to do with it.
Had nothing to do with what exactly?
No need to be worried, Fred.
Oh, good. So what can I do for you, Digger?
We are in need of another escort.
Is that even legal? Where do I sign up?
Stan! Will you stop it? What do you even mean, Digger?
It seems that more people are crossing over than we can handle.
But what would I have to do?
Simply guide the new arrivals to the demarcation point.
A guide? As in leading people somewhere?
I'm sure that Fred is capable of doing that.
He got lost going from the bathroom to the kitchen.
I will have you know, Stanley, that it was very dark that night.
You could have just gone through the wall, you know.
Yeah, I kind of forgot that I could do that.
Digger, what would Fred actually have to do?
We would let him know who was about to arrive, or rather, leave, and he would be there to help them.
As long as it's not like an accident, or worse, a murder.
You will be at level 1. Those are the ones that are extremely sick and are ready to go.
Oh, good. So, when do I start?
Go over to Mercy Hospital, room 1311. Mr. Raymond Johnson is ready. He should be joining you in about an hour.
But I thought, according to the rules, I can't leave the house. Unless Stan or Dorothy is with me.
I'm not going anywhere, especially to watch someone kick the bucket.
Fred, you are now under a special rule. You are no longer bound to the Peters on a strictly probationary basis.
Is it okay with you, Dorothy?
I think it's wonderful.
Yes, please, by all means.
Okay. See you later.
Well, there's our newly employed spirit. How did it go, Fred?
It went... I guess it was okay.
Something happened? You didn't get lost, did ya?
Oh, no, nothing like that. It was all kind of sad, you know?
Tell us what happened, Fred.
Well, I got to Mr. Johnson's room about 10 minutes before he Well, the nurses and doctors tried what they could, but, well, when it's time, it's time.
So, what did you have to do?
Oh, just wait for him. When he finally showed up, I explained what happened, and, well, then I took him to the bus.
Wait a second. A bus? Like a Greyhound bus?
Oh, well, that's just to take us to the airport.
Not exactly what I imagined the afterlife to be.
Yeah, it's not like the old days. The job just got too big for one person.
You mean the Grim Reaper?
Right. He's really not such a bad guy. I remember when he came for me. Oh, I was so scared, but he turned out to be a rather pleasant fellow.
If I saw a guy in a black hood with a large sickle, I'd be scared too.
Nah, Stan, that's just the way the living world portrayed him. He was quite dapper, in a three-piece suit and a bowler hat.
Did he have a British accent as well?
That sounded more Boston than British. Anyway, there are just so many people...
Kicking the bucket?
Right. It just got to be too much for the old boy. So the head office started recruiting for the job.
And that's why they asked you?
Yep. Turns out the girl that was doing it in this area had a bit of a breakdown. Yeah, after tonight, I can see why.
Well, I mean, it's not like you didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah, true, but you see, I don't just get a name and a place and a time. Oh, I get the whole life history. And Mr. Johnson, he led a pretty full life. It's kind of a shame to see him cross over. That's all.
Depending on who you talk to, there are many variations of what happens when you die. Every religion has its own depiction of the afterlife. I'll be back shortly with Act 2. As we join the Peters, it has now been 2 weeks since their resident ghost, Fred, began his new job. We find them having dinner with Jack and Millie Carson.
How's Fred doing on the job?
Okay, so far.
I think it's wonderful that Fred is doing something with his... well, you know what I mean.
At least he's not moping around here all day.
He does seem a little more sad than usual.
What's there to be sad about? Personally, when I get there, I wouldn't mind having that job.
And that's not going to be for a very long time.
Hi, everyone.
Now, there is our handsome escort. How did things go today, Fred?
Yeah, congratulations on your new job.
Thanks, Mr. Carson.
Any juicy tidbits of information from anyone about possible future events?
This doesn't involve clairvoyance. Fred just picks up people who've gone on to their reward.
It doesn't hurt to ask, Jack. Besides, there might be someone who buried some treasure somewhere and told Fred all about it.
If that were the case, we wouldn't have to worry about a thing.
No, nothing like that, Mrs. Carson. I just simply guide them to the demarcation point.
Would you believe it's a bus?
You're kidding.
Well, to be fair, it really is a nice bus.
Well, I, for one, am glad to see you doing something worthwhile.
Right. Dorothy, could I possibly talk to you alone?
Okay. Yeah, let's go in the kitchen.
I have a very serious problem.
What's going on, Fred?
Well, you know that I get a name and a place and a time to be somewhere to pick up the soul that's crossing over. Well, I usually get it a couple of days in advance.
I remember that first email. I didn't think computers were even used over there.
Oh, everything has been computerized now.
So, you just get the information that you need, then you go and wait? So what's the problem?
Dorothy, let me ask you, if you knew something bad was going to happen, and you thought you could prevent it, well, would you?
Of course. That's a no-brainer, Fred.
Yeah, but what if you were told that you could not say anything? That it was against the rules?
Oh, man. You mean those rules that they tend to change every other day?
Oh, Dorothy, please, this is serious.
I'm sorry, Fred. So you were asking me if I knew something was going to happen that I could possibly change, would I try to do it? Even though it was against the rules? I think that I would.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid you were going to say.
Wait. Does this information have anything to do with standing me?
Kind of.
Then you have to tell me. Rules are no rules, Fred.
Here, I accidentally left the travel orders on the kitchen table. I must have forgot to pick them up. I'll see you later.
Okay, plausible deniability, I guess. Okay, so let's just see what the heck this says about... What? Oh, hell no!
It has to be some sort of mistake.
According to Fred, the head office doesn't make mistakes.
Oh, really? Putting ghosts and vampires in my house wasn't a mistake?
Right? I remember.
And what about Fred even coming here? That wasn't a mistake?
I guess you were right.
Is there anybody you can call about this?
I tried calling Control, but apparently he's on vacation.
How do you take a vacation in the afterlife?
I think he just didn't want to talk to me.
I have a question. If this turns out to be something real...
I think I know what you're about to ask.
What are we going to tell the boys?
There have been documented cases of people who knew beforehand that a catastrophe was about to happen. When they revealed their premonition, they were met with ridicule. Of course, they were vindicated when the worst did happen, but that did not do the people involved much good. I'll be back with Act 3. Frederick Washington Davis has accidentally given Dorothy some rather distressing news. We now join Millie and Dot in the living room with their respective husbands.
So what's the big meeting all about?
Yes, you two've been in the kitchen a long time.
Stan? Are you feeling okay?
Never better. Why do you ask?
Jack, you know you have been eating a lot of fried foods lately. When was your last checkup?
Now, you know I had one just last week. The doctor gave me a clean bill of health. What's this all about?
Honey? You don't feel, sick or faint or anything? Do you?
I told you, I'm fine. Now what is this all about?
Did you tell them, Dorothy?
I'm getting around to it. Tactfully, Fred.
Will somebody tell us something?
Fred, It isn't time already, is it?
Oh, no, Mrs. Carson. We still have a half hour.
What happens in half an hour? Somebody say something.
Fred got an order to pick up 2 souls yesterday.
So what's so bad about that? I mean, is it someone that we know?
Oh, you definitely know them.
Shut up, Fred! Let me do this in my own way.
Wouldn't it be better to just tell them?
Tell us what?
The 2 people that were on the order that Fred is supposed to pick up at exactly 8 tonight are Mr. Jack Carson and Mr. Stanley Peters.
But I don't even feel sick.
Don't worry, hon. Dorothy is trying to get through to someone that may be able to help.
But that's what I've been trying to tell you. Once the order is made, well, there isn't anybody who can change it.
Dorothy, are you okay?
Oh, Stan.
What did you find out?
Control still is answering the phone.
There has to be some mistake.
Fred, are you absolutely sure that you have the right names?
Oh, absolutely.
So, what do we do now?
I would say that... Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't want to do this, but I don't have a choice.
It's almost 8 o'clock. Oh, Millie, there's so much I want to say.
I know. Me too, Jack.
Dorothy, I'm sorry, honey.
It's just not fair.
Now what?
Something is wrong. I don't understand.
What was supposed to happen?
Well, there should have been this light, and then Stan and Jack would follow me to the bus.
I have the distinct impression that we are still very much alive and well.
I'm glad for that.
Oh, no, something is definitely wrong.
Fred, what are you doing here?
Digger? I'm waiting for Jack and Stan to come over to the other side.
You were supposed to be at the Hampton Arms Motel 30 minutes ago.
What? Digger, what is going on?
Oh, no. I read the instructions very carefully. I am supposed to pick up Jack Carson and Stanley Peters at 8 p.m. tonight. And that was 5 minutes ago.
And as you can see, we are perfectly fine.
Let me see these so-called orders.
See? Even I saw it.
Most irregular, too. Fred, we shall have to have a long talk about keeping our mouths shut.
Now, don't you dare blame Fred. I just happened to see the orders in the kitchen on the table.
Mrs. Peters, Mrs. Carson, I owe you both a rather large apology.
You mean there really is a mistake?
I just checked the original order. Apparently, we have some new typists in the office. Fred is at the correct address, just in the wrong county. And the 2 souls are one Mr. Jack Peters and Mr. Stan Carson.
I told you I didn't feel sick.
You mean this wasn't my mistake?
No, Fred. You were only following the instructions that you were given.
Oh, Stan!
Whoa, I'm okay.
I suppose you want a kiss as well.
You had better, you big old bear.
Well, I guess I'd better get over to pick up the right ones.
Again, I apologize for the mistake.
Dorothy, will you do me a favor?
Anything for you?
If you ever find out something is going to happen,
Yes.
Just keep it to yourself.
Oh, I love you, Stan.
As the four friends make a toast to their good health and long life, Fred simply smiles. I'll be back shortly with a final word. As far as I know, Fred is still escorting departed loved ones to the, bus for their short, flight to their final destination. Personally, I like the old way much better. Our cast included Crimson McKenzie, William Stafford, Winslow Swan, Dave Arkipov, Annie Mick, and Carter Sheriff. The story was edited by Crimson McKenzie and directed by Winslow Swan. The music provided by Kevin MacLeod. And now, a preview of our next tale.
For God's sake, don't you hear it?
Roderick, please. I don't hear anything.
I have heard it for many minutes, many days. God help me, I said nothing.
Oh, please, Roderick. You must get control of yourself.
She's coming. Don't you hear her, Edgar? She's coming for me.
This is your host, Artemis Black, inviting you to return with us through the doorway to Nightmare for another adventure into the world of your terrifying imagination. Until next time, slumber peacefully.
Epilogue. The butler did it.